Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. In this video, which I want to keep short because it's a remind video again, I want to tell you, Goliath is a distraction. I'm not saying you shouldn't deal with Goliath, but Goliath is a distraction. When I go to the Old Testament and read the history of Goliath, it was a Nephilim. It was a giant that was terrifying the army of the Israelites. So David, a 7-year-old guy, I don't want to say kid, he was a 7-year-old guy, a teenager, who had faith. He was recently anointed. He heard about it and he thought, who is this uncircumcised, that means unclean Philistine, that's thinking he can set up against God? What is this? David didn't even call that entity a giant. David was so into faith that he saw things in perspective. Others were afraid that a giant is not a natural human being. Everyone was so afraid. David was thinking, what? So David had a good, he had a confident expectation of good. That's what David had. That's good. Now, David had a lot of issues that he needed to be delivered from still. David still had to be renewed in his mind, but nevertheless he had faith. So acknowledge that. I'm not going into David's issues, because he had many. When you read scripture, you can do that for yourself, analyze it for yourself. Just understand he had a confident expectation of good. And that is faith as a mustard seed. That is what you ought to have. That is what you begin with when you begin to walk by faith. But here's the thing. Goliath was not the real issue. Remember when David was called, he was not the first choice of his relatives. When Samuel came to look for someone to anoint, David's father didn't even call David. It's Samuel that said to Jesse, these are not all your sons. Because Samuel had all spirits. Then Jesse said, yeah, I have another son, a 7-year-old kid, he's watching the sheep. Then Samuel said, go get them. The Lord's choice was on David. But his own family, his own parents didn't choose him. So, and that's not the only thing. When David defeated Goliath, the people began to praise David for what he did. Okay, I'm not going into that, that can happen. But that demon that was possessing King Saul was not anointed anymore, he was demon possessed. And that demon, which was a demon that the people empowered, because they operated in the negative, because remember, they wanted an earthly king, because they want to become like the world. So they rejected God's rulership upon them directly. They wanted to be like Babylon. So the Lord selected someone who was according to the people's expectation. So Saul was the people's choice. So the people were in the negative. They were not in agreement with Christ. So the one they chose didn't match the criteria of being Christ either. David was in Christ because David was after God's own heart, which simply means he had a confident expectation of good in God's will. Okay? So, when Saul passed away, the Lord dealt with it. Saul was out of the picture. It took 8 more years before David became king of the whole of Israel. The majority of the people kept resisting him. Even when he was king, after those 8 years, there were still issues against him. When Absalom, one of David's sons, revolted, many people joyfully went after Absalom. When you look at this, that giant, Goliath, was not even an issue compared to all the other stuff David had to deal with. But at the time, Goliath appeared as the issue. What am I telling you here? Sometimes, and by the way, when there are things going on, you should evaluate what's going on and you should look beyond. I'm not advising you to ignore things just like that. There are things you should ignore, because sometimes the enemy just wants to get attention from you. He does that. But understand this. There are times circumstances appear that are threatening, that affect you, that carry danger with it. There's danger in circumstance. But that circumstance is, it has been caused and made, and maintained by evil spirits. Evil spirits are using people to do it. And why are demons doing it? It is to distract you. Let me give an illustration. Let's say that you have financial issues. For almost 3 years, you are bankrupt, literally. And you think, you know what? Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can push this over here. Less noise. As you can see me. But anyway, I'll continue making this video. I'm not going to stop again. You have financial issues for almost 3 years. You've been bankrupt. And you really want it to be over. So you're praying and praying, but things don't change. So one day you'll say, you know what? I'm going to fast for a whole week. And I'm going to pray and pray. And you did it. You did eat and drink. You didn't starve yourself or do anything unhealthy. But you kept on fasting and fasting. And what happened? After the week, bang. The whole financial stronghold. The whole the whole stronghold of financial lack disappeared. The stronghold was broken. So now you think, great, I overcame it. Now you have a job. Now you have business deals being handed out to you. Things are working. But hold on a minute. Now you notice that you have financial prosperity, you have financial abundance. But the people around you, they are losing it against you. There are people that are in unrest. They can't sleep at night because they know you have money. There are people coming after you. They demand to benefit from what you have. You have people that want to benefit from what you have, and when they can't benefit, they turn on you. You have all kinds of lawsuits coming against you, people lying about you. And now you see the negative mindset of the people around you. Now that you're in abundance, it manifests. And now people are losing it because they can't stand the fact that you have financial abundance. And all the troubles you are facing now are nothing compared to those 3 years that you were bankrupt. Sometimes you even prefer being bankrupt than going through all of that. And you think to yourself, how can I prefer that? Here's the thing. That bankruptcy, that financial struggle, it was a distraction. It was a Goliath. It was a threatening circumstance, that's true. But it was a distraction. Yes, I'm glad David had courage and he took down Goliath. Just like I'm glad that you, in the supernatural, are dealing with the opposition that's coming against you. But realize, Goliaths are distractions. They're not the real thing that you need to overcome. You should overcome them, don't get me wrong, but they're not the main thing. And this is what the enemy does. He brings Goliaths to you. He does. And because Goliaths are there, the people around you are going to focus on the Goliaths. Just like in David's case, everyone's will focus on the Goliath, When the Goliath has been taken down, there's a brief period of peace, a brief period of ease. But soon afterwards, the real demons are manifesting. Look at David's life. Take it as an example. Not only David's life, there are more characters in scripture you can use, but I'm focusing on David now. When you look at all the things he went through, all the dangers after defeating Goliath, you may think, Goliath was nothing compared to all of those other stuff. And that's why I'm telling you, walk by faith, have a confident expectation of good. Don't rely upon manifestations, because manifestations can deceive you. You can walk by faith, and by faith in the supernatural can overcome stuff. But that overcoming there was nothing wrong with it, but that Goliath that you defeated, it was a distraction to lure you further in the negative. So, without you being aware of it, your faith has been used against you. That's why I look at the bigger picture. That's what I'm asking you to do. That being said, agree with Christ and be at peace.